advocacy, community, education, resources, rewards. Learn more at thervadvisor.com.
This is the RV Advisor Podcast with your host, Tom Alexander. Get all the latest information, trends, advice from experts, stories from the road, and more in the world of recreational vehicles. Now, here's Tom.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RV Advisor Podcast. My name is Tom Alexander, and today I'm joined by Russ Lovell. He is one of the founders and the managing partner of RV Plus U. RV Plus U. This is a really interesting business I want to tell you all about. Well, Russ is actually going to tell you all about it. I'm just here to listen. How are you, Russ?
I'm doing great.
Speaking to us today from around San Luis Obispo, California, huh?
Exactly. Precisely. Yep.
All right. Central Coast. Very nice. Beautiful area.
Yes. We actually escaped all the heat. I don't know if, you've been hearing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heat on both coasts. I mean, I was just watching a game last night. Baseball game last night in Philadelphia, and it was 90. I think it was 95 or 96 at game time, first pitch. That's toasty. That's no matter where you are. That's a little warm.
Yeah, and it's this whole thing. It's a dry heat. Okay, it's still hot.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're here in South Florida, and I will tell you that there is a distinction. You get the dry heat, and you get the 96 and humid is worse than 96 and dry.
I was, like I said, I was just there and I experienced that heat. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a whole other thing. But anyway, escaping the heat is always nice. And if you've done that, you've, consider yourself the victor.
Right.
Delivered RV rentals. This is terrific. It says, choose your destination, book your RV, owners, deliver, and set up. RV Plus U is the website, rvplusu.com. Tell us a little bit about how this all works.
Well, it's RV rentals, everybody knows RV rentals, but I think most people think of them as here's the keys, go Robin Williams, hit the road and all of that. This is a different take because of the model. It's a peer-to-peer website. So that means, private parties renting to each other. And we believe that the delivered model is the best and safest and most damage-free way to go. Mm-hmm. So that's what it is. It's just an RV delivered to your destination wherever you need it. So, and that could be anywhere. It's events, but obviously campgrounds. Yeah. But a lot of people they want to camp with their friends and family. They just don't want to own one. And that's who we market to.
What sparked the idea? Well, you said, hey, you're gonna do the research and go see about renting an RV, and you go through the whole process. Conversely, you guys deliver the RV, there you go. And no matter where you are, there it is.
Right.
What sparked that idea?
Well, oddly enough, it was probably Conan O'Brien and Airbnb because our son at the time was going to college up in the Bay Area. And the prices were ridiculous. So I said, hon, Conan O'Brien just did this skit where he had some ladies stay on the set at an Airbnb. This is back in 2012. And we should do that. So we did an Airbnb. And then I said, well, wait a second. If we can do an Airbnb at somebody's house, why couldn't we do our trailer? So, and we just purchased a trailer. We're getting back into RVing after the kids had left. And so, that's what started it. That was that's what I was doing. But then I met our friends, we were going for a Hitachi consulting gig and that fell through, but we decided to do something else and everybody threw their ideas in the ring. And my idea was this. So, and everyone goes, hey, this is cool. Let's do it. So that's how it started.
Yeah. And I'm assuming just like many things, start small and grow. Exactly. Is that how it worked?
Yeah, and manage growth and also fun because we all have. I have a separate business. That's what pays the bills. My wife is a consultant in telecom. I have an international telecom business that pays the bills. My main partner, he's a farmer. Well, he was a farmer. Now he leases out all the land. But we do other things to support this. But this is our passion. This is what's fun. And getting with the RVers, who are we're trying to preach, hey, you own an RV, it's expensive. This
Yeah.
is a way to offset the cost. And this
Yeah.
is the best way to do it. So this is our passion. This is we're doing it more than full time. I mean, it's, 60, 80 hours a week is what we're doing. But
Wow. So there's
that's what it takes.
so how many are there inside the company with you?
Well, we have a couple of interns. We have a consultant. We have an advisor. And then we have three main partners. These are the guys that are like on the day-to-day basis. We're the guys, doing it. But our model is going to be as much outsourced as we can, so that we can remain as close to the business as possible. Not getting big in office and employees all over the place. No, let's focus on what's really needed and focus on the customer. And that's it's two customers. It's the RV owner, but it's also the renter, right? We make sure that they have a great experience. So
very good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we want to learn more about all this and learn a little bit more about Russ Lovell as I clear my throat on the downside of the cold here. And we'll continue right here on the RV Advisor podcast. He's Russ Lovell. I'm Tom Alexander. Back in just a moment.
The RV Advisor was created for you to protect your rights as an RV enthusiast and arm you with the knowledge to navigate the complex RV industry. There's strength in numbers, and that's why we've built a nationwide network of RV owners empowering you with the advice you can trust at rvadvisor.com.
We are back on the RV Advisor podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. My guest is Russ Lovell. No relation to Jim Lovell from the
Uncle Jim.
Uncle Jim.
No.
13. Okay, I just wanted to check.
Yeah, Tom Hanks played that rather famously. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, one of my all-time favorite movies, by the way.
Great flick.
Great movie. Apollo 13. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Thank you. Ron Howard's going to get the check in the mail to me now for that. RV Plus You is the site. And of course, we'd mentioned earlier that Russ is a founding member and kind of helps the day-to-day operations there.
Oh, I do it all. Yeah,
you do it all.
Customer service. Yeah. All that stuff.
Chief bottle washer.
Chief bottle washer. There you go.
Yeah. That's how it works, right? But let's find out a little bit about your time away from the office, so to speak. You describe yourself as a full-time part-timer. You and your wife travel in your own RV. Do you rent that, by the way, from RV Plus You, or do you get a discount on that?
This is what I do when we rent out the house. It's kind of transformed. It used to be, our home. Now it's almost like a vacation rental. But when we find good renters, we jump in the RV and then we go. And last year we had a family from St. Paul, Minnesota. They're moving to San Luis Obispo. So they rented. So we're gone 9 months. And as I was telling you earlier, we were able to leave California, go all the way down to Key West, the southernmost point. Got that photo, and then then came back, and we just got back last week. So, but we work from the road. We both have jobs, and but it's when we're not in the RV, we rent it out. When we're not in the house, we rent it out. So keep the assets working, and that's kind of what we preach. Yeah,
well, that's great. When you're on the road, do you find that we've had both answers really on this. Sometimes we have folks that really pre-plan and they know their next move and everywhere they're going, and then there's folks that just sort of follow the road where it takes them. And how would you describe yourself?
Well, it depends on where you're going, and so all those answers are depends. But like last year, before COVID started, we had everything lined out all the way down to Florida, all the way up the coast into Maine, Acadia National Forest, all the, Niagara Falls, all that. But on the East Coast, you have to have everything planned. in the West, you can wing it because there's so much space. You can,
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way, but yeah, that sort of makes sense. There's a lot of miles between the next thing, right?
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
the East Coast, at least from what we read from all the different blogs and stuff, is like, yeah, make sure you have everything because we've got a 35-foot fifth wheel. You're not going to just, park alongside the road or, it's everything is developed. There is no real BLM or national forest that you can just, pull into. And, you're not going to always rely on a Walmart, So anyway, yeah, have your reservations. That's always the best plan.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a good idea to have some, I guess, some sense of where you might want to go with a little bit of an open book for a stopover that maybe you're not
Yeah.
expecting. And we hear these kinds of stories all the time. We were on our way to Rushmore or something like that, and we wound up stopping at this little town in the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere, and we liked it so much we decided to stay for a few days. Sometimes we'll hear those kinds of stories and people just move there,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and it can be a place they never expected, they maybe never even knew was on the map. So
Yeah. And you know what, Tom? I
yeah.
think we're living through some amazing times right now when you look at the technology, which has really afforded us the ability to hit the road and work from wherever.
Yeah.
And it's not just retired people who, the typical RVer is, up in their 50s or whatever, 50s, 60s, retired couple. No, we're meeting a ton of millennials who are essentially saying, "Hey, why not? I can work from the road. I have the ability to generate income through my laptop and my computer. And if you're fortunate enough to have that type of job, then the question is, why not? Why not go see the country while you're working? That's
Yeah.
and what we do at RV Plus U is we say, okay, do that, but when you're not using those assets, don't let them just sit and rot. Put them to work. And
Right.
I mean, and it doesn't take much. Like my son has a trailer down in San Diego. He rents it out about 8 times a year. That's $5,000. That pays for your storage, your maintenance, insurance, all of those things. And you get to pick out who you rent it to. It's not like you're just saying, "Here's the keys, go do it."
Right.
You're delivering it, and there is. I've been doing this 7 years. The damage is stupid little stuff like, "Oh, I broke the fuse box," or "that hinge is broken," or whatever. And they send you a Venmo, and it's and it's fine. So
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. When you hand somebody the keys though, and you say, "Go tow it, go drive it," that's where you have some issues. That's the issue. And so for a real RVer, that's when they go, "Oh, I'm never going to rent my RV."
Mhm.
Well, depends on how you do it. And that's why we think we're different, because we've got a different formula.
Yeah, and it is something that is more and more people. I think what we've learned from this pandemic
Mm-hmm.
is different ways of doing things. Maybe things that we were accustomed to doing one way,
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
and now suddenly we all of us are kind of trying to relearn or unlearn the old way and learn a new way, whatever, however you want to describe it. And that can often be a really good thing. We've seen it before. From challenges rise
Yes.
innovation, and it just happens.
And
So
that's probably why we're seeing unprecedented levels of people hitting the road buying RVs. That's why it's going through the roof. Our
it
numbers are
is.
through the roof. All the rental companies, all the entire industry across the board, because people are saying, "Hey, I do not have to be tethered to this place. I can move
Right.
around."
Right.
It's awesome.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what, Russ, this show, we started this show back in 2019, and in the summer, and we went through in the fall and the early winter of the next year into 2020, and everything looked like you're just humming along, and then the pandemic hit, and I said, well, that's a wrap on this show because we're not gonna. And then yeah, there was that week or 2 or 3 of maybe a little bit of uncertainty and instability, and wasn't
Sure.
sure where we were going to go, and then suddenly boom, just an explosion of activity, and people wanting to find a safe way to get out on the road, and suddenly the podcast was like right in the center of it all,
So
and
you probably just spiked, right?
totally spiked, and we were
Nice.
just trying to figure out just to keep up with the getting those shows out. It was crazy.
That's great.
Which we're obviously very grateful for.
Yeah.
It's excellent. We were really very, very surprised. But I do want the folks to be reminded once again where they can, if they want to learn more about RV Plus U, why don't you let them know?
Yeah, it's rvplusu.com, all spelled out. And, you can learn, how it works. But you can, we're one of the few companies that you can actually call a toll-free number and reach somebody. It's usually going to be either me or my partner. It could be an intern, but normally I'm answering the phone. And if you just want to talk it through, I talk to so many people about this because it's a big investment that you've made in an RV. To let someone else use it is a big thing. And we've done studies on this. There's only 10% of the population of RV owners want to rent it out. And so you're looking at what, 1.2 million in inventory. That's still a lot of RVs. Yeah. But most people, they say, no, I don't want to do it. But if you decide you want to try it, we're the way to go. I mean, hands down, we can show you how to do it in a safe way.
Very good.
Yeah.
RV Plus U, rvplusu.com. And that plus is all spelled out. It's not the little wiggly sign there. It is plus. rvplusu.com. Russ, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us and share with us what it is you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is the RV Advisor Podcast. We'll be back in just a moment.
Buying an RV is an exciting moment, like buying a new house. You should inspect the RV and the contracts thoroughly. You may not know what to look for, and that's where the RV Advisor comes in. GG and her experts are here for you at rvadvisor.com.
Back now on the RV Advisor Podcast. My name is Tom Alexander, and of course, I'm joined by our guest coordinator, our good friend, Neve Carey Zacco. Hey, Neve.
Hey, Tom. How you doing?
I'm good. Doing well. Always great to see you. And even though we see you in the same sort of shell, you're always at a different location. We know that. Where in the world is Neve? That's, I think we need to ask that question.
I know.
Yeah, but that's good. That's good. The element of mystery, I think is we all look forward to. So lots going on, obviously. And speaking of location, because we've been working toward finding a new home, a new permanent home for the RV Advisor. And what's the latest and greatest on that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Gigi is very, very close to signing on the dotted line. If not in the last few days, actually, she may have already signed the new and great, exciting lease. As everyone knows at this point, probably Gigi and, our sister company had a terrible fire that burned down the entire flagship location belonging to Planet RV, which is affiliated with RVA and RVACA. So, months have been spent here just rebuilding ourselves, and she has finally found a new location that she is happy with. It is a outdoor enthusiast dream, we can call it. Her plan and her dream for this is to have an RV dealership, a storefront or a face for the RV Advisor, and she wants to then bring in other vendors, so maybe a golf cart supplier, a fishing distributor, or something like that, a dive store, all kind of outdoor themed stores and storefronts that are looking for, now obviously on a smaller scale, not like Bass Pro or anything large like that would say, but some maybe startup companies that would like to have their face and begin a storefront at a financially viable level. She's trying to just kind of partner up with exciting companies like that and get us all into one location and go from there. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun outdoor world, we'll say. So yeah,
Wow.
I'm excited to see it come through. We'll hopefully have a party to celebrate once we're in and settled and things like that. So that should be definitely by the end of the year, I would see us having a celebration there. So it would be really, really nice to once again have a storefront.
That is, yes, that would be wonderful, and really looking forward to it, and seeing a lot of familiar faces, which
Yeah.
unfortunately I haven't seen in a long time. Every now and then I get over to the old location, and we run into some folks, which is great to see them. But on a regular basis, we've been kind of working. A lot of us have been working remotely. But it'll be great to see everybody again, smiling, and at a brand spanking new
Yes.
location, and with a lot going on. That's terrific news. So we'll keep
Yeah.
folks posted as we learn more, right? And
Yeah.
go from there. But well, that's great. And of course, we want to thank our guest today, Russ Lovell from RV Plus U. Thank you, Russ. And next time it'll be Walt Burns. Walt Burns from APCO will be joining us right here on the RV Advisor podcast. For Neve Carizzacco, I'm Tom Alexander. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time. So long, everybody.